Hello, I'm Jane Werry and I'm Head of Music at Hayes School in Bromley. I'm going to be talking today about effective leadership of a music department. We all know that running a music department takes a huge array of different skills, not just pedagogical or musical, but organisational, entrepreneurial, technological, and social. Music departments are often small in size but punch way above their weight in terms of the impact that they can have on students' lives and the ethos of the whole school. Although I'm going to be talking about music department leadership under these 5 headings, all of these different skills come into all of these different topics. First of all, vision. Music departments come in all kinds of flavours, and you'll need to know what kind of flavour you want yours to have. How do you want your department to change the students that come through its doors? Without knowing this, it's difficult to make any other decisions. You need to be certain in your own mind where you're going so that you can convince other people to come with you. How are you going to maximise the impact that music has on the life of every single student? What do you want people to see and hear when they come into the department? How will you make students feel welcome and to create a buzz that they all want to be part of? Where do you want the department to be in 3 years' time? Secondly, curriculum must be at the heart of everything we do. Deciding what and how to teach at Key Stage 3 is a huge job, but one of the really fun parts of being a head of music. You'll need to draw up a list of the skills and knowledge that you want your students to acquire, and then think about how you'll achieve that. What styles of music will you include? How can you make sure that practical music making is at the heart of every lesson? What instruments will you use? Where will ICT fit into everything? And how will you get everybody singing? How will the curriculum link with extracurricular activities? Which courses can you offer at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5? And how will you ensure that you can recruit enough students to run those courses? Every school and every department is faced with limitations. These might be to do with manpower, curriculum time, rooming, resources, or the requirements of your senior leaders or your school ethos in general. What Music isn't quite like other subjects, and a head of music needs to find a way to live with whatever limitations they face while keeping meaningful music making at the heart of what goes on in lessons. This can take a really big dose of ingenuity, pragmatism, or even some cunning. The third thing to think about is assessment. Like everything else, there are lots of different ways to do this, and the way that you do it in your department needs to fit with your curriculum and the way that your department works. There's definitely no one size fits all answer to this or to anything else. Everything works somewhere and nothing works everywhere. However, you will need to make sure that whatever assessment you do supports learning. The most important thing is that assessment is primarily for the student and for the teacher and needs to inform you in such a way that it aids your future planning. Assessment purely for the sake of fulfilling some kind of school system needs to be questioned if it doesn't benefit the student and the teacher. You'll need to think carefully about what to assess and ask yourself what is important enough to assess. That's a really good place to start. Effective leaders in music departments also need to be PR gurus. Unlike core subjects, we're constantly in a position of having to sell our subject, and sometimes it feels like we have to justify its place in school. If Machiavellian manipulation doesn't come naturally to you, you might need to get used to the idea of managing upwards. In other words, taking a really proactive approach with your SLT um, and, and manipulating their perception of music and appreciate its value. You need to think about what their priorities are, and this is going to vary hugely from school to school. But as a music leader, you're going to need to make sure that whatever you do fulfills what senior leaders are trying to achieve. Music might do this in really different ways from other subjects, so you might need to go out of your way to explain this to your senior leaders. I would really recommend taking the bull by the horns and inviting them into your lessons and to your rehearsals and explaining to them exactly how what you're doing um, fulfills their school improvement dreams. Think about your shop window and make sure that you're running events that bring the department to the attention of all of your students, all of your colleagues, and your local community as well. Use every possible channel of communication within the school, locally and online, so that you can really build up a reputation for your department. Finally, lead from the front in all the various roles that a music leader takes on. This may well involve feeling the fear but doing things anyway, whether that involves learning new skills, pushing boundaries, or just putting yourself out there with your own musical skills or your public speaking skills on show. Don't expect colleagues or students to do anything that you're not prepared to do yourself. Show that you're a lifelong learner and be prepared to learn from everyone, including students. Admit that you don't know things, but show that you're keen to find out. Make the most of your colleagues' skills, celebrate them, and develop them too. It's not often that heads of music go on to senior leadership in schools. This is mostly due to the fact that being a head of music is the most rewarding job in the school, although I am quite biased in that opinion. It is, though, a job with endless scope for creativity and making a massive impact on students' lives. Yes, it is a huge amount of work, but isn't everything that's worthwhile?